Okay, geometry, I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. I'm going to do a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation, a 90 degrees clockwise rotation, and a 180 degree rotation. So let's start with our 90 degree clockwise. Clockwise means we go that way. That's the way the hands on a clock move. So I'm going to take and do the rotations the same way as I was doing them, just like it was on grid paper. So you connect the point F to the origin, and then we measure 90 degrees coming off clockwise. So putting the bullseye on my origin, and I probably need to extend this line so I can see it. Okay. And then I go put the origin, rotate it around, and I get 90 degrees over here. And I connect this out. And then I'm going to measure it. And this one's too small to measure. So I went 1, 2. I went over 2 and up 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2. And you can pretty much see it goes right through the middle of these, so it's pretty easy to do this one. So that is where F prime is going to be. So let me put those points off to the side. So I had the point for F being 2, 2, and the point for F prime being 2, negative 2. Okay. Then I'm going to move to the next set of points. And I'm going to connect my G to my origin. And I'm going to rotate that one around, and I need to make that one a little bit longer too so I can see it. So put the origin at my bullseye, line up the edge of my protractor, come 90 degrees, and draw my line. And hopefully I can measure that one. Ooh, it just barely makes it. Take it and put my bullseye on there. Draw my arc, and I'm at this point right here. So G was at 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And G prime is at 1, 1, 2, 3, negative 4. So G prime was at 1, negative 4. Let's do the same thing with H. So draw a line out to H from the origin. Find 90 degrees, put the origin on the bullseye, edge of the protractor, 90 degrees coming off there, and we're going to draw this one down. Get this right. And then measure it. So put the bullseye on the origin, put my slider out on H, rotate it around, draw my arc, and I'm at this point right here. So H was at the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was the point 5, 4. And H prime is at the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we want you to see a pattern here. So when you're doing a clockwise rotation, well, the 2's look like they drop straight down and this one changes signs, but when you start seeing the numbers, you see the 4 comes over to here, the 1 goes back there. So the X switches to the Y switches to the X, and the X is going to change signs when it flips over to where the Y position is. The X goes to the Y goes to the X, and the X is going to change signs when it does that. So our rule up here, if we have the point XY, then when it gets a 90 degrees clockwise rotation around the origin, the new point, well, the X went to the other place and changed signs, So the x is going to come here and change signs, and the y went straight to the x position, and the y went to the x position. So your input is xy, your original point is xy, and your output, or your reflection, is going to be y and then the opposite of x. That's how we read this negative sign. It's the opposite sign of whatever x is. So let's look at a 90 degrees counterclockwise. So counterclockwise means we're going back that direction. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to connect all of our points. So I'm going to put F through the origin. And I'm going to be thinking again. Let's see what color did I do F in. I did F in green last time, so we'll keep it the same. So put F through the origin. Extended so I can see the whole line. Put the bullseye on the origin. Measure 90 degrees. And then draw its 90-degree line. Okay, and then measure it out, which I couldn't, so it went 1, 2 out, so I'm going to go 1, 2 out. And there is my F prime. So on this one, my F is still 2, 2, but my F prime is now negative 2, 2. Let's do another point. So let's move on to, I grabbed the color for G, so we'll go with G. So I'm going to extend point G through the origin. Find 90 degrees counterclockwise, so I'm going to go this way. 90 degrees counterclockwise puts me up here. Connect the origin through that point. And then I need to measure from F to G, and this one's the one that just barely fit. So F to G, rotate it around, draw my arc, and I'm at this point right here. And so G was the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and G prime is now the point negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, doing the last point here, so we're going to H. Then I'm going to extend H through the origin. I'm going to measure 90 degrees. I'm going to extend this line out. And then I'm going to measure it and make my arc using my compass here. So put the bullseye there. Slide her out to H. Slide it around. And I am at this point right here. So this is my H prime. I didn't label, sorry, this should have been my G prime. So back to H prime. My original point H was the point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it was the point 5, 4. And my H prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's negative 4, 5. So we've got some points here. Let's make a rule. So again, it looks like my 2's drop straight down, but my negative's on my x coordinate. But once I look at this point, I see my 4, my x goes to my y spot, my y goes to my x spot, so I'm still flip-flopping here. But now the y gets changed to negative over here. The x goes to the y position, the y goes to the x position, and there's my sign. So the rule, if I've got an input of xy, then my output, what my rotation will be, is, so the x went to the y position, so the x goes to my y position, and the y goes to my x position, but when the y went to my x position, it changed signs. So the point xy becomes the opposite of yx. So I exchange the positions and change the sign on the y when I change its position. So there are my two rules for counterclockwise and clockwise. Those are going to be really important. You're going to need to know those. And now let's go to a 180 degree rotation. So I'll use the same colors again. So I used this color for F. So I'll grab the same color. And I'm going to go through F, through the origin, again, because I'm rotating about the origin. And 180 degrees, well, I can grab my protractor and do that. 180 degrees this way, well, that's all the way around to the other side of the line. 180 degrees this way, again, that's all the way around and to the same line. So I basically just need to go the same distance out this way as I was to the positive side. So that would be a point right here would be my F prime. So that's that one up there. This new one, if F was 2, 2, F prime is now negative 2, negative 2. Okay, next point, we'll do point G. Extend point G through the origin because we're rotating about the origin. So I'm going to go 180 degrees. So if G is at point 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1. They're on the same line, so they should have the same slope, so you can use slope to get there. So if G is the point 4, 1, G prime is the point, we went back 4 and down 1. Okay? And the last one, let's grab point H. Point H needs to go through the origin. Trying my best to get this right. And so if this was the slope of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, I should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and good, I was accurate with my drawing. And there's H prime. And so if H was, I said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, then H prime is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 5, negative 4. Okay, and I probably should draw in all these for you so you can see them. So here is that triangle, and I'm doing a quick job of it. I know, not using a ruler like I should. So here's this one. So there's the rotations. 180 degrees, so positive 2 to negative 2, negative 2, positive 4, positive 1, negative 4, negative 1, positive 5, positive 4, negative 5, negative 4. So the rotation, the rule for this one, if I write it out, if I have X and Y, then they become, the X stayed in place, Y stayed in the same place, but they both change signs, so it's the opposite of X and the opposite of Y. So XY becomes the opposite of X and the opposite of Y when we're doing a 180 degree rotation. Okay, so there's your 3 rules. We've got a 90 degree clockwise, and XY becomes Y negative X. We've got 90 degrees counterclockwise, so YX becomes negative YX. And we have 180 degrees, so XY becomes negative X, negative Y. And the negatives and positives, you should be able to logic out a little bit by which direction you went. If I'm going clockwise, I went from the first quadrant down to the 4th quadrant, and what's changing? Is it my X or my Y coordinate that's changing? Well, it was my Y coordinate that changed, see? And if I went the other way, I went from here to here, so that meant my X coordinate changed. So here it was positive, and here it's going to be negative. Okay? And whenever I went on this one, I went from quadrant 1 to quadrant 3. This is positive, positive, and this is negative, negative. So you should be able to use some logic to get this and not have to do too much memorization.